Hey up guys, S-Man back at it again with a brand new review. Not of Horizons, but of actually the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC Part 1, the Teal Mask. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure you subscribe for more content like this in the future, and even give the video a like, and comment your thoughts on the Teal Mask if you have played it. But yeah, let's get right into the review. Before I give overall thoughts about the plot and what I liked and didn't like, I just want to discuss more of my personal experience being my team. For original Scarlet and Violet, I had 7 major Pokemon that was on my team, that being Meowscarada, Ceruledge, Tinkaton, Palmont, Lowkicks, and Palafin. And then once I got to the Area 0, I did trade Palafin away for an Iron Bundle midway through the story because I really love penguins and I just wanted to use it for the rest of the story. But why does my base Scarlet and Violet team matter? Well, I decided that for both DLCs, I want to transfer in at least one Pokemon from my original team. And for Teal Mask, I was going to do Meowscarada, and Indigo Disc, I was going to do Ceruledge, because those were my 2 main Pokemon and 2 heavy hitters. So I started this team out with Meowscarada, then I also brought in 2 Pokemon into Kitakami. A shiny Applin, because Diplin, and a shiny Arctibax, which fully evolved in the back Scout, which led me to catch 3 new Pokemon in Kitakami, that being Blood Moon Ursaluna, Milotic, and Ogerpon. I love Ogerpon. I'll get more into this later, but Ogerpon's amazing. Same thing with Blood Moon Beast. I gotta go into that later. But yeah, this was my roster, my team. I wasn't originally gonna use one of the Loyal Free, but you don't even catch it till after the main story, so I decided to just switch it out for my loader. Now you guys know my team, I want to discuss more problems I had with the Teal Mask. And it was only really 2 major problems. The first being the Dex. 200 Pokemon, and most of them were originally in Paldea. I felt like we could have added more, and this leads more into it. New Pokemon. Every new Pokemon had been shown in the trailer, except for Blood Moon Ursaluna and Sinistcha. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not really sure, but Sinistcha and Blood Moon Ursaluna are the only Pokemon that are new that haven't been shown. And Sinistcha is literally a regional fake, so yeah. It would have been cool to see a lot of these older Pokemon get like new Kitakami evolutions or variants, or even how they were doing it. Because throughout this region, we see that some Hisuian Pokemon still exist, like the Basculegion, which I think the concept of that existing makes a lot of sense because when we first ran around all those regions, we didn't find Basculin, and the fact that it couldn't evolve made also sense. So I would have liked the idea that maybe we can see more later gen Pokemon with 1-stage evolutions like evolve that isn't more Japanese based, because Kitakami isn't near Paldea at all. It's actually around Sinnoh, Hoenn, Johto, and Kanto in like more a Japanese region. And even in Indigo Disc, we're gonna see Duraludon, which is a more later gen Pokemon, getting an evolution in an earlier gen that may be tied to Unova, but yeah. But realistically, only 2 Pokemon were a surprise, and it was Blood Moon Ursaluna, which was leaked and was everywhere right before the game came out, and Sinistcha, which was expected. It was really sad not to see like, new Pokemon besides the ones already shown. And also, another complaint, there's a lot of grass types this region. I mentioned my team, 3 of them were grass types. It's because I wanted to use newer Pokemon. And guess what? Most of the new Pokemon share types. Sinistcha and the Poltegeist line, Diplin, and Ogerpon all are grass type. And that is like half the new Pokemon. The Loyal Free all share poison type, but have the secondary type, so it makes it slightly unique. Blood Moon Ursaluna is the only newer Pokemon that has a fully type that doesn't share with anything else, and I think that's kind of sad, especially for newer Pokemon. Yeah, and my second point is just lag. The most beautiful area in Kitakami runs at 2 frames per second. That's a problem. And I didn't really experience that much bad lag in graphical areas besides the main ones like the slide in like mountains or whatever happened there in base Scarlet and Violet, which I consider myself lucky for that. But I experienced all the main ones here, like The fact that your best area runs at 2 frames a second is horrible. The whole Ogie Dogie glitch every time you try to encounter it, where it's just glitching about, is kind of messed up. But yeah, those are my 2 main complaints. Like, we could have had a definitely way bigger decks with more newer Pokemon and just graphical issues. Now let's get into what I love. The characters, the story, just everything about this DLC, and a lot of the new Pokemon. I want to discuss each of these points individually, but yeah, I love a lot of things about this DLC. This has probably been one of my favorite DLCs, because Isle of Armor, really good DLC with a decent story, but it was just boring to play and didn't add much besides the dojo, and that was only really relevant to the story. Once you finish Isle of Armor's story, there wasn't much to do besides catch things and like pay money to do the dojo. And Teal Mask had like a more boring story with, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't explore the Crown Tundra that much because I just thought it was pointless. Because the best thing in that whole DLC was the Dynamax raids, which you can get any Pokemon from that, so I didn't even think it was necessary to like run around after I caught most of the Pokemon in Crown Tundra. And it was all mainly just snowscapes. The only cool area in Crown Tundra was the tree where all the legendary birds were. That's the only area I really liked, because that's where all the fossils and dragon types were. And the story was just generic. It was like, oh, go catch these legendaries. That's all really it was. And then the fact that it also did add the Galarian Star Tournament was fun. Original DLC for Sword and Shield, better story. Second one, better gameplay. And that might or not be true for this one, based on what I know a little bit about the second one. It might seem like these are both big improvements over how they handled the DLC originally. Because first off, Kitakami has a really good story with good characters, and I just really loved it. The story of the ogre and you befriending it and helping the village see its lights and helping it get its mask back was fun. So basically, the story starts off with you getting a call from Jock saying, oh, field trip, Kitakami, you're one of the 4 students invited. Guess who the other 3 are? Not Penny, Nemona, or Arven, 3 randoms. That was one of my sad parts. I love Nemona, Arven, and Penny, and we just don't get to see them again. I hope we get to see them next time, especially when we go back to Area 0, which I assume they were going to come to, because it would be stupid if they don't. But yeah. You meet Briar, who reveals that Blueberry Academy is actually in Unova, which I want to go more into later in a newer video once Blueberry Academy actually comes out and we get closer to it. But yeah. Briar then takes you all to the place, you meet the caretaker, and then Kirean and Carmine. And then once that happens, you basically go around, learn the story of the Loyal 3, the quote-unquote story. It's basically that they fought off Ogerpon, go to the Festival of Masks, run into Ogerpon, find its mask, gotta repair it, then return it to him, and then help him get his rest of the masks back after accidentally awakening the Loyal 3. Then that's really it. And it's a generic story, but it's more has the characters of what bring it up. And there's 3 main characters that just carry this storyline: Carmine, Kirean, and Ogerpon. Starting with Carmine, I initially hated her. She's just a wannabe Nemona. I still think that, but I can respect her somewhat now because she did change. She was once a racist who wanted me out of her region because I'm Hispanic. Like, sorry that I come from Spain and you want me out of your region. She's very annoying, thinking she could beat me in battles, but she got mollywopped every time. Let's be real, she sucked. But yeah, I hope we get more of her next DLC, because low-key, she was kind of the worst character here, but one of the main ones carrying the story, surprisingly. Mainly because she's one of the 3 who do anything for the story. I don't like that she's rude to Kirean. She's kind of just rude for no reason, and she claims it's because she's his big sister, but when she's yelling at him for no reason, that was kind of messed up. I hope we see more of her, how she acted at the end, where she's kind and like actually not a horrible person, because that's what I liked really about her. I didn't like her at first, and I ended up slightly liking her by the end because of the development she got by helping you and Ogerpon with the mask thing and befriending you. So yeah, we'll see where she goes within the Blueberry Academy. I hope she's a major part of the story. Same thing with Kirean, which I definitely think he will be. Speaking of him, he's the next major part. of this, and I just gotta say, his arc is fantastic. At first, I thought he was a creep and a weirdo. He kept saying wowzers to me, and like, didn't he say he had a dream about you or something weird like that? Was thinking about you all night? Yeah, that was weird. Kind of obsessed with a guy you just met because he beat your sister in a battle. But seeing how she treated him makes sense. You inspired him to want to get stronger, and you guys battle and even befriend each other. But that all changes when Carmine attacks and becomes your friend. No, but what happens really is you become the enemy in Kieran's story. Kieran is a shy boy who had no friends, and the only person in his life really was his sister. But you befriended him and actually made him realize what it's like to be loved by something who isn't your sister, who's rude to you. So we even see this, of how happy he is in the pictures you guys take and how happy he is to go with you to the Festival of Masks. He's just loving his life and his new friend. But once you and Carmine start talking and keeping secrets from him about Ogerpon and the mask, because another thing about Kirean is he has an obsession with Ogerpon because he relates to it on this like fundamental level, because Ogerpon was an outcast and he believes he is an outcast too. So he's idolized Ogerpon his whole life. And that's before we're even learned that his family has large ties to Ogerpon in the true story of Ogerpon. And we're the ones who made the original masks for him. But that's just sad. And then you and Carmine are keeping the secret from him about his idol. His basically, he dreamed of being friends with the ogre, and you guys became friends and just left him out. I can see how he became a psychopath. This all cultivated with him stealing the mask and fighting you by the Loyal Free shining once again, and just punching it and awakening the Loyal Free. This also seems to have some ties to a new Pokemon that's been in the... so I won't be discussing it here. But yeah, then Kieran just runs off, decides to help you out with the ogre by helping the town, by telling the town the true story and making them believe in it, so the ogre can visit. But the real breaking point of Kieran, not losing to you by the shrine, is losing the opportunity to catch Ogerpon to you. His Ogerpon has been his idol, and the fact that you get to catch it, you basically came to his home, befriended him, to then take everything he loved and just rub his face in the mud more and more throughout the time you're there. It's just sad. I feel so sorry for Kieran, and I love this arc, and I can't wait to see it get ended with him potentially being the champion of Blueberry Academy, you guys fighting once more. Based on how this ends with him deciding he's gonna get stronger to beat you. Another thing I really love about Carmine and Kieran is basically they're the opposites. Kieran starts off liking you and eventually goes to being a hate towards you and a jerk rival, while Carmine's a jerk originally and then goes off loving you. These two switched paths, all because of Ogerpon. Now, Ogerpon's adorable. I just love that it's a little relationship with you and its cute little face and the fact that it's scared to go to the village. I just love everything about Ogerpon. Ogerpon is my third favorite character in the story. Ogerpon really doesn't do much, but it's still there, and it's like basically your friend throughout the entire story. It follows you and Carmine around, and you guys all work together to get the mask back, which eventually leads to you battling it in a really cool fight. It actually was challenging at first because I didn't have a Pokemon to take out the Teal mask, but then once I got past the Teal mask, I just whooped the rest with the rest because, let's be real, I had something to take out both the Wellspring and the Rock mask, and also the Fire mask, so the whole battle after that Teal mask was easy. It's just the fact that there was a little type diversity in this region, that I could get a Fire type that's a new Pokemon in Kitakami. Like, what Fire types were even in Kitakami in the first place? I have no clue. I got a freaking Infernape from the egg Jock gave me, but I ain't using that. I just played BDSP with an Infernape, and I had an Infernape on my team at one point in Legends Arceus. I wanted a Piplup. Like, why did I get... I'm sorry. This is a rant for another time. More notable characters are basically Perrin. I love Perrin. She's one of my favorite characters throughout all Pokemon. I just love her vibe, her mellow attitude, and I just love that entire storyline. I hate that you had to catch 150 Pokemon to do it. I wish you could have done something more like maybe it would have been more interesting if you capture a picture with different Pokemon and then she decides that you're good enough to take to the forest, the Timeless Forest, to catch the Blood Moon Beast. But the Blood Moon Beast mission was just so fun. It was such a great battle, and it's just overall like a good time. I did that first before any of the main story that you weren't required to do. So because I wanted the Blood Moon Beast with me, the Blood Moon Ursaluna. That I say Beast because I got used to saying Beast, trying not to spoil what it was for people. But yeah, another character is Briar, who introduces Blueberry Academy as being in Unova, and she's also a teacher there. The descendant from Heath. Doesn't really do much. She does give off this weird vibe. I'm curious how she'll be more relevant in the next DLC, because I definitely think there's more to her than what seems. But overall, I think that's everything I gotta say about the Teal Mask. The problems with the dex and the lag, and just its ties with kirean, carmine, terapagos, the whole Blood Moon Selena quest, and just the whole story of it all, it's still just that good. I have not done the Billionaire quest or the whole Ogre Clan thing. I did battle some of them, and I haven't finished battling fully with all of them, so I don't know where that either of those go. But yeah, I can't wait for Indigo Disc and just to see how the whole story of everyone finishes in the next DLC. I will be having a video soon discussing all the new lore little drops from this and how it may be impactful to Horizon Z anime, because we are also getting close to a point where Terapagos is going to be relevant and they're going to explore that story more. So yeah, hope you guys like this video. Subscribe for more content like this in the future. Freshman, signing off.